Hi, my name is Kim Culver, and I have a 9-year-old son that's diagnosed with primary immune deficiency. We have quite the story from the time that he was born. He was actually very healthy until he was about 2 years old, and then we were getting ready to go on vacation, and he got sick with a fever. And I honestly wasn't going to take him in because he was my 4th child, and I thought, oh, well, it's a fever, it's probably a virus. But we're going on vacation, so I took him in, and it ended up that it was pneumonia. To make a long story short, he had pneumonia 3 times in the next 4 months, and so they sent us to a pulmonologist. We lived in northern Michigan at the time, so it was a 4-hour drive for us to see a pediatric pulmonologist who diagnosed him with asthma. At that point, we thought everything was just normal and he had asthma. And then about a month later, he started with ear infections, and he just kept getting repeated ear infections. And then we moved on to strep throat, blood infections, sinusitis, GI problems, and they just kept sending us to different specialists along the way. At one point, someone said, well, maybe you should see an infectious disease doctor. So we ended up going to an infectious disease doctor who sent us to an immunologist. The immunologist decided that he should have a flu vaccine. And so we spent 2 hours in the immunologist's office, him convincing us that we needed a flu vaccine, which we didn't get because we had traveled 4 hours for this. And so we kind of blew off the whole immune thing and just went with treating each infection as it came along. Well, as the time went on, he just kept getting more sick, and I knew that something was wrong. Like I said, he was my 4th child at that point, and as a parent, you know your child and you know when something isn't right. So we ended up going to the University of Michigan hospital, and they did some immune deficiency testing, and all the levels came back normal, except his titers for his vaccines. So they in turn said, well, there is something wrong, but we don't think it's an immune deficiency, so we are going to send you to a specialist in immune deficiencies. So at that point, we ended up at Duke University. We went there and had a specialized test. It took a year to come back, and it turns out that he did have an immune deficiency. They can't quite classify it yet, don't know exactly what it is, but he started on IVIG treatments. The doctor at that point said that she didn't know if they would help or not. So it was kind of a trial and error for us. We went in, started the IVIG treatments, and honestly, they really helped with the infections, but he got really sick from them. So then we switched to the sub-Q form, and since that time, he has been amazingly healthy. And I just want to say that, you know, through all that time, I had to learn to be my child's advocate. I had to keep pushing the doctors who kept saying, well, he has asthma, and he has ear problems, and he has this, and he has this. And I had to really kind of sort it all out myself and say, okay, which direction should I go? Because all of these doctors cannot be right. And that was the basic thing that I learned from this, is that you know your child better than anyone else, and you need to just kind of make sure that you always go in the direction that your heart leads you to go. He's 9 years old now. He's on full-time hospital homebound, which turned out to be a good option for us because he's not really around the germs of the other kids, so that worked out well. And has not been hospitalized at all in the last year. So I just want to say that you know your child better than anyone else, and you need to, you know, make sure that you're the one advocating for them and not letting the doctors tell you exactly where to go when, you know, they're giving you 800 different reasons. You know that there's something different wrong.